My name is Leah, and I rode to the farthest north point you can reach by the road in Canada. I arrived in Tuktoyaktuk by the Arctic Ocean. And the least we can say is that it wasn't easy. Let me tell you the story.
Hi there! And first of all, I'm sorry, there's a lot of roosters around. So, a few weeks ago, I've started riding on the Panamerican from the far north of Canada to the far south of Argentina. But before riding toward the south of the continent, I had to reach the starting points, the Arctic Ocean. So I spent the first weeks riding north through British Columbia and the Yukon, and honestly that was quite a ride. I arrived in Dawson City in the north of the Yukon. That's where the last road to the Arctic Ocean starts, the Dempster Highway. And the Dempster Highway is quite a legendary road. It's about 900 kilometers of gravel road one way. And it's known to be rough, especially for motorbikes. Before starting, a lot of locals recommended us not to take it. And honestly, I started to be quite stressed about it.
I'm a little bit scared about this road. This is 900 kilometers of gravel road, sometimes quite deep, quite rough on the tires, and that can be super slippery if it's wet. And I know also that the trucks don't slow down and just like put you in a huge cloud of dust and gravel. A lot of locals recommended us not to take it. We heard also a lot of stories of accidents and stuff. But we're gonna try. We have the perfect condition to try. We're gonna be slow and careful and not stupid. If it doesn't work, we just turn around. There's no pride in that. But yeah, we're gonna try, see how it goes, and try to make it to Tuktoyaktuk, which is the last town that you can reach by road in Canada, just by the side of the Arctic Ocean.
So yeah, that's not very confident in my ability to reach the end of the road that I've started riding on the Dempster Highway. But well, the stress quickly gave way to excitement though, because I was there, finally, after months reading about it, after weeks riding towards it, that was my turn. And the first part is actually not too hard. The gravel is quite compact, and that's the most beautiful part, because you ride through the Tombstone Territorial Park, which means that you have crazy stunning views on high mountains. And the weather was absolutely perfect. Oh, by the way, first recommendation, if you want to ride on the Dempster Highway, I would recommend to wait for a good weather window, because the road is known to be an absolute nightmare if wet. Everything becomes super slippery. It's not impossible, but it's definitely very dangerous, and I don't think it's even fun. So we haven't ridden too far this first day, maybe a bit over 100 kilometers to the first camping spot, and that was a very cool camping spot.
Another first campsite! Yeah.
wasn't very challenging in terms of riding. Things get a bit harder on the second day. A bit more bigger rocks, which looks threatening for the tires, and a sandy section before eagle plains. Eagle Plains is the halfway point between the Sous-titres and Inuvik. This is also the first, I'm not sure how to call it, town or community. I actually looked it up, there's 8 inhabitants. So that's the first civilization point you'll encounter on the Dempster. That means that we had to have enough fuel to cover the distance, which is 370 kilometers, so 230 miles. We had some jerrycans with us, 2 times 5 extra liters, and finally the tank of the Himalayas was just big enough. But anyway, before Eagle Plains, about 50 kilometers before Eagle Plains starts a very sandy section. And we weren't used to ride on sand. Actually, Quentin lost control at one point. His back wheel was going from left to right again and again. I don't know how it didn't fall down. It was quite scary. Second recommendation, by the way, if you want to ride on the Dempster Highway, I think you need to know how to ride on sand. It's actually not that hard. It's just a little bit counterintuitive because you have to give some gas when you feel like you're about to lose control. So after this episode, we actually just watched some YouTube tutorial about riding on sand, and we had no more loss of control. Anyway, that's about it for the second day. We camped a few kilometers after Eagle Plains, but I haven't filmed anything because the mosquitoes were so bad. On the third day, we're quite used to gravel and we make good progress. I think that in average we can ride 80 kilometers per hour, so 50 miles per hour, which is way faster than what I was expecting before starting. Other bikers might ride faster, but I think that's a very reasonable speed to not damage the tires too much. We are now riding in the tundra, so it's a very different landscape. It's quite cool to experience as well, even though it can get a bit tiring after a while. Oh, and very important that day,
we just made it to the Arctic Circle where there's a lot of mosquitoes. High five.
No, es so lame.
Okay. No, guys, do something. Like 2 seconds.
Just do this all the time.
Okay. Well, we made it! We made it! We just arrived at the 3rd campsite on the Dempster Highway. I didn't film the last one because it was full of mosquitoes. It was a fight. But this one is very, very nice. We have a lake on that side, a river on that side, and we're just camping somewhere over there. We had a little swim in the lake as well. It's not that cold, especially knowing that we crossed the Arctic Circle today, so that was the first swim into the Arctic Circle, and yeah, it was a good one.
on the 4th day, we took a ferry across the Mackenzie River and we rode the last stretch to Inuvik. This is not exactly the most exciting part. There's not much to see, it's very dusty, and it's just easy enough to let my thoughts wander. But I was very happy to arrive in Inuvik. At this point, I wasn't sure if I could go further, so Inuvik already felt like a big accomplishment. We went to the city campground to meet up with other riders we've met earlier and to get ready for the big challenge ahead of us. Yes, because the hardest part was still to come. The road between Inuvik and Tuktoyaktuk. It's technically not part of the Dempster Highway anymore. It's about 140 kilometers. And it's a very new road. It opened in November 2017, which means that it's absolutely not packed. The gravel is super loose, sometimes quite deep, so it's super slippery on a bike.
This is the road.
We let all our stuff in the campground in Inuvik to have lighter bikes, which is way easier, but which also means that we had to come back in Inuvik the same day. So that was quite a long day. On the way up, we took almost 5 hours, but mostly because we were waiting often for one of our rider friends who had a passenger. And I can only imagine how much harder it is with someone else on the bike. So the guy decided to take it slow while we were using the speed to help our balance. And it was an exhaustive ride, honestly, both for the mind because you have to stay hyper-focused all the time. I feel like I didn't even blink my eyes. And also for the body because you're so tensed and because it's easier on this kind of road to ride standing up, so you stay in a squat position. So that was hard, but I'm so proud and happy I did it.
Yeah. Oh, it's cool. That's oh my god.
That was a very special moment. The can I remember for the rest of my life. Quentin actually proposed and we had a dip in the Arctic Ocean.
How long can your phone record? Like 2 hour max? Otherwise we're never gonna make it, eh? Not even the knees? Mm-hmm.
So we made it, but we still had to go back now. And that didn't really go as expected. From Tuktoyaktuk to Inuvik, we took no break this time and we made it back in 3 hours and a half, so not bad. But we had one problem for the rest of the road. A big storm was coming. We've decided to rush to avoid it. We wanted to do the rest of the road in 2 days, so 2 times faster than on the way up. And I think that was a good decision. Our rider friends decided to wait in Inuvik for a better weather window. And they ended up riding on a soaked road. They actually crashed. They're both okay, but the motorbike got damaged. So we rushed. It wasn't really enjoyable, but at least the road was still dry. But we might have gone a bit too fast. 90 kilometers before finishing the Dempster highway, Quentin had a fat tire. We had everything to repair it, and by the way, you do need to have everything to repair a flat tire if you want to ride the Dempster highway. It took a while though. A couple from Germany with a big truck actually helped us. They had a bigger air compressor and they took Quentin's bags for him to have a lighter bike, so we could both finish riding the Dempster highway. But about 20 kilometers back on the paved road, on the way to Dawson City, the tire went flat again, and this time we didn't have any more extra inner tube, and honestly we were just exhausted. So we called back our friends from Germany, and they came back with the truck to tow the bike. They drove it all the way to our host, who could help us fixing it. I'm so grateful for all of them. And that's the story of how we rode to the Arctic Ocean. But you know what? The journey just began. So subscribe to come along.